What's up, guys? It's that one nerd, Jacob, and this does put a smile on my face. I graduated last week, at the time of recording anyway. By the time you're seeing this, it's probably just a little bit later. This is my graduation cap. We got to decorate it, but that's not what matters right now. And also, I'm gonna take all this stuff off so I don't die from overheating. This video is about graduation. I graduated. I officially made it through all my years of school, all the way from pre-K to senior year. And man, things already feel extremely different. Now, before I go too far, let me just clarify. Graduating is not the easiest thing to do. We were missing a couple of kids from my graduating class because there was only about 70 or 80 at graduation. There was about 100 in our class overall. So don't assume that graduation is just going to be this thing handed to you. You do actually have to work for it, and it is pretty difficult to get to. I'm gonna set this up, hopefully, somehow. I don't think I can unless I, get this all messy. There we go. That's just gonna stay there the rest of the video. But, yeah, it's official. I'm done with high school. This past week I finished tech. Tech got finished after high school was over with, so I still had a little bit of youth left in me. And now I'm old. So, this video is basically gonna be me talking about the past 4 years of my life. My experiences in those years. God, it's hot in here. You guys are welcome, by the way. That tiny one that just kicked on, that's just the house AC. I have an AC unit in here, but it makes the audio so loud. So, I'm sorry for myself because it's so hot, but you guys are welcome that I'm saving your ears and dying of heat. Let's kick straight into this video, shall we? Because this has been 4 minutes of rambling that I'm probably gonna cut out anyway. Freshman year.
Don't believe me, just watch.
Freshman year was definitely an experience. Nobody knew what was going on freshman year, especially the first month or two while we were in there. We didn't know what to expect. I was going in with the mindset of, oh, it's gonna be like High School Musical mixed with any other high school movie. I was expecting all sorts of music and happy times, but at the same time I was expecting to be bullied. Neither of both really came out. This is a personal experience, by the way, so whatever I say, don't take completely to heart, which is kind of sad in some cases, but it's the truth. So, whenever I started high school, I was going into choir. I started in 8th grade whenever I joined, so I was going into choir, and I was hopeful. I was hopeful for so much. I was excited. I was ready. I was prepared. But at the same time, I didn't know how the upperclassmen were gonna be. I didn't know how fellow classmates were gonna be, because I always heard this thing of how so many people change between elementary school to middle school and between middle school to high school. So I was still hoping that I would still have all my friends. And I did. I really did. So we always hung out at the same lunch table every day. We had most of our classes together, so we got to see each other super frequently. And, I don't remember anything extremely negative about freshman year. This was the year where homework was pretty little, and as long as our parents could give us rides places, we had all the free time in the world to hang out with each other. And I really miss that. I miss being able to be in school, seeing them every day, and then after school, us being able to hang out without any interferences or interruptions. So that was really nice. And this was whenever classes were extremely easy, so I held a B+ average. Some classes were A's, other classes were like mid-B's, so that's why it was a B+ average. That makes sense. So I had a B+ average throughout freshman year, and I had plenty of friends to talk to. We hung out all the time at lunch, and, this was me thinking, man, high school's gonna be great. So, yeah, let me try to run through the events. So we start freshman year. We sort of tour around the high school before school starts and we all get our schedules. And this is whenever friends start finding each other and we're like, hey, what's your schedule look like? There was even some people that, I didn't really talk to that often, and they wanted to swap schedules. So I immediately dropped the thought of, oh, people changed after middle school. I started thinking, oh, people are actually really nice, as they were in 8th grade, because in 8th grade, I didn't experience any problems with people being negative towards each other or nothing. So I thought that was going to carry over through all of high school. Oh god, I was a naive little 14-year-old. I actually had to do the math in my head. Oh my god. So, yeah, we went through the year. Choir was amazing. Classes, like I said, easy. I did great in English. Algebra 1, I was really good. I took a psychology class because it's something that interested me. And I really enjoyed psychology class. And what was fun about psychology, I had the same teacher for psychology and algebra 1, and that was my 6th and 7th hours. So after psychology, the teacher would always ask how I thought the lesson went and if I thought people understood it very well. So I was normally the feedback, so I'm not going to say any names, but if you're watching this, thank you for being my psychology and algebra 1 teacher. You were amazing. You were probably one of my favorite teachers. So thank you. Let's see. I'm trying to think. I had economics and I think geography this year. And what was fun about that class is we always got out early. Everyone always finished their work early because it was just really simple book work. Just go through the chapter, write down vocabulary, answer the questions at the end. And I don't think too many people got that low of grades. Now, I don't know if they were cheating or not, but I'm just going to assume that they weren't. I hope that they weren't, because I'd be praising them for cheating. Don't cheat in school. It's bad. So we'd always get out of that class about 5 to 10 minutes early. And it was great because I got to eat, and then whenever my friends got there, they got to eat, but then we got to talk. And it was really nice being able to talk to people all the time. So that was just a very positive experience. So cut to sophomore year. My favorite year of high school. Yeah, I'm being serious. My favorite year was sophomore year. A lot of people say it's senior year just because they get to graduate, but I thoroughly enjoyed my sophomore year. Not because of classes, but this is the time when me and my friends all seemed to get closer. So I was 15 whenever I started sophomore year, and this time, it wasn't a bunch of people saying, what's your schedule? Because, they would post that on Instagram or Snapchat. And I think this was the same year that I actually got a Snapchat. So that was pretty weird, to say the least, that I hadn't had a Snapchat for so long. And I think I got Instagram that year too. So needless to say, I was only on Facebook through 8th grade and freshman year. So sophomore year, this was whenever me and all my friends started getting into Yu-Gi-Oh! Which, I don't know about them, but I still have a majority of my cards somewhere. Oh, I'm not digging into the drawer. I wound up later on selling most of my cards and restarting my collection completely, and I kind of regret it, but at the same time, a lot of those cards were no good and I couldn't use them anyway. And there's only been one instance where I bought a specific deck. I'm never doing that again, because buying specific cards for a deck is expensive. Some people know this, some people surprisingly don't. So now you know. So we played Yu-Gi-Oh! Pretty much every day at lunch. And we sort of treated it like WWE or MMA. We had championships, you could get championship opportunities. And we wound up making our own little league out of it, and I think sophomore year, for a good, 3/4 of it, we had 12 people. So we had an entire lunch table just dedicated to people playing Yu-Gi-Oh! And that's why I made sophomore year my favorite year, because freshman year, no one really knew about it. A couple people started playing at the end of the year, but then sophomore year is whenever it really ramped up. So we're playing Yu-Gi-Oh! Every day at lunch. Classes are still relatively easy. I finished off with like a B- average, so obviously classes are still getting a little bit harder. But overall, I'm still doing okay. This year, our choir wound up getting a 1 on stage at competition. Oh yeah, I forgot to talk about freshman year choir. I did solo competition and I got a superior ranking at district and state. That's all I'm gonna bring up for that. I don't want to go into it too much. But our choir as a whole went to competition and wound up getting a superior ranking on stage. So that is absolutely amazing. And, you know, that hadn't happened in the choir, high school at least, for a while. The middle school did it my 8th grade year, but it was just really cool being able to celebrate with everybody getting something that we hadn't gotten in a super long time. So, needless to say, the choir was great that year. Friends, I feel like I made more friends than I had the year before. So, it was just an amazing time, and I absolutely 100% loved it. Then comes junior year. I'm gonna say this was also my favorite year just because I got into tech, but I'm more focusing on high school, so that's why this year isn't technically my favorite school year. I guess it makes sense. First thing is we got a new choir teacher, so I was a little iffy on everything. That was fun. Yeah. The choir teacher we got was actually pretty good though, so I'm not gonna worry about it too much, but whenever it first started, everyone was just, new choir teacher, we don't know how to feel about this, and I was definitely one of those people, not gonna lie, but she turned out to be absolutely amazing. Starting tech, we started tech a little bit earlier than our actual school had started, and this is where some stuff started to drop off, but really didn't. So, obviously, not all of us were in the same tech class that were in my friend group, and that wound up getting separate little friend groups for tech, and those smaller little friend groups started doing more things. So, Yu-Gi-Oh! At lunch started dropping off mainly because we had to be on the bus by noon, and we didn't want to miss the bus, but also just because, you know, all of us started having different interests. I still love Yu-Gi-Oh! And I'd still collect cards if I didn't have bills. It was also junior year, which this started at the end of sophomore year, that I started working, so I didn't really have that much time outside of school to hang out with anybody. I still had to go to work, and that sort of cut into me being able to hang out with friends. So that's fun. But overall, our main friend group stayed intact this entire year, and I'm not going to complain about that at all. And at tech, made even more friends at tech, so I had an even larger friend group, but this is also whenever work started affecting my grades a little bit. I didn't have much time to do my Algebra 2 homework because of work, so my grade in there, I'm not going to talk about it. It wasn't the best. Family members know about it, so that's all I really want knowing about it, I guess. But it was still okay. I think my average here was a C+ average, so definitely dropped, and I'm blaming Algebra 2. It was all Algebra 2's fault. You were a good teacher, Miss Algebra 2 teacher, but I hated your classwork. Also, this junior year, can't English today. Tech kids always got off early, so that did help a little bit with us being able to play Yu-Gi-Oh! At lunch until it started dropping off towards the end of the year. But hey, we weren't gonna complain about it. So, I was going to tech. I competed in skills competition this year. I like how I said at the beginning of junior year I'm gonna focus more on high school and not tech. That's because tech had more stuff happen to me than high school did, so yeah. So I wound up going to skills competition, I made more friends, I started learning more about film since I really enjoyed film. obviously, because I've been doing this YouTube thing since I was in elementary school back in New Mexico, except those videos were trash. 8th grade, my videos were trash. Freshman year through junior year, my videos were trash. Okay, I'm saying my videos are trash, and that's because I hadn't learned proper techniques. This is still technically a pretty trashy video, because the background is all over the place, but, you know, this is better than having no lighting and me walking around talking, which works in some cases, like if you're out in the open, but it would just be me walking around in my living room and in my kitchen. You're just like, what's up, guys? It's Blazing Storm. Remember when that was a thing? But yeah. Needless to say, I started learning a lot from tech, and I was really happy that I got in. Choir, I went back to do a district solo. I decided to pick a German piece because, you know, our choir teacher, she was just like, oh, well, you want to do a more difficult piece and you'll have a better chance of getting into state. I'm like, oh, okay, cool. So I picked this German piece, which now, anytime I hear most modern washers and dryers, gives me PTSD, because some, like, Samsung washers actually use the piano from that song whenever the wash cycle is done. I didn't know this until I went over to someone's house and I heard their washer going off, and I'm just like, oh no. Yeah, see, I got a 4. A 4 is one of the worst rankings you can get. Only thing worse than that is a 5. So I got a 4. And whenever I walked out, I'm like, oh, as long as nobody tries to come over here, it'll be okay. 2 people start running at me. I'm like, oh boy, here come the tears. And I started bawling my eyes out. Not very surprising after the performance I had. So needless to say, yeah, things were going so well. And the choir as a group, things weren't going so well because we had gotten a 3 on stage and a 4 in sight reading that year. So at the end of the year, I actually thought about dropping out of choir because I felt like it wasn't for me at that point and that things were just going to go downhill. And actually, between every semester from junior year to senior year, so between the first and second semesters of junior year, which I'm talking about, I wanted to quit. End of the year, I wanted to quit. Middle of senior year, I wanted to quit. End of senior year, I'm forced to quit. So, yeah, needless to say, choir wasn't the best thing in the world at this point, but I stuck with it, even though I wanted to leave, and it was okay. So now, senior year. This is the year when so much wrong and right at the same time happened. So, this was the year that a lot of people changed, to say the least. I was one of those people, sadly. I'm trying to change back to how I was in years past, but I think it's just I feel too busy to really try and talk to people. So, first off, our friend group became very divided. And more times than not, it was over super childish and small things that we could easily, you know, have not worried about. But we worried about it too much. And because of that, we started segregating ourselves from our little groups. During most of the school year this year, I was pretty much alone. I had really 2 friends I would talk to on a daily basis outside of choir, then it bumped up to like 4 or 5. Whereas in years past, I had a whole lunch table just full of friends I could talk to. And now I just didn't. Some of the issues had been because of me. I'm not gonna lie about that. I'm not gonna be like, oh, I was the perfect one in our group. No. No one in our group was perfect. There was a lot of things that people in our friend group did that caused us to separate. We started making rumors about one another, we started telling lies, and just overall worrying too much about other people's business. That wasn't our business to worry about in the first place. So, needless to say, because of all this drama and everything, I'm not going to say I fell into a depression. That's something I hate when people self-diagnose with depression. I'm just going to say that I wound up being pretty sad for a while and didn't know what to do. All my friends were starting to turn against each other, and I didn't know what to do. I had pretty much nobody to talk to, and I felt like the world was turning against me because, it was just, we didn't talk as much as we'd had years past. Because of this, I didn't know where to go. I thought I was lost, and I wound up getting pretty aggressive and pretty negative throughout most of my senior year. I lost a lot of friends, but then there were a couple of people I could call friends. I don't know if they'd call me friends back, but I made a couple of friends senior year, but it's just we didn't talk that often, so they were more, we were there for each other during school hours, but after that, it was really, we're on our own. Grades, they went back up. I finished with a B average this year, so that's good. It's really good. Choir did really good. We wound up doing excellent, so 2s on both stage and sight reading, and I went back to state competition for solos this year, and with an ensemble, we got superior rankings at districts. I got a superior ranking for my solo, and then an excellent ranking for the ensemble, which is what these medals, if I can find which side they're on, I hear them jangling around. Here they are. That is what these medals are for. The 2 black ones are district superior, and the blue one is state superior. So I wound up pinning those to my to my graduation gown, because that's just something I wanted to remember. So I made more friends at Tech this year because since it's a 2-year program, we gotta have first years coming in, and I made friends with pretty much all the first years. But it still just didn't feel right. I had people to talk to at Tech, but outside of Tech, I didn't get to talk to them that much until later on in the year, but we'll get to that point. So I had a little distraction, which helped because I was able to talk to some people and I didn't feel completely alone. But my work schedule started getting in the way of me trying to hang out with people outside of school as well, and I just didn't have any free time. I still barely have any free time because in about half an hour I have to start getting ready for work. Needless to say, senior year, a good majority of it was my least favorite year. Looking back now, if I really don't look at all the details, yeah, a lot of it was good. But if I look back on the details, a lot of it was very, very bad. Our first choir performance was our dinner show, and people didn't know completely what they were doing. I was one of those people for one of the songs, and people just got super angry at each other. People got aggressive with one another. So this was what made me say I was going to be leaving the choir at the end of the semester, and then our second choir concert definitely did not go to plan either. So in my head I was like, yeah, I am officially leaving. And then I thought, I gotta redeem myself for my solo last year, getting a 4. I know I can do better. And it's the last semester. But I gave myself the mindset that my senior year had to be perfect. It could not go wrong in any way whatsoever, and if anything did go wrong, it's not my fault, it's society's fault, it's everybody else's fault, and I had to not worry about it. I had to try and get out of anything that would be considered a stressful situation, which I did very poorly. Don't follow my examples. Towards the end of the year, things started getting better. And I'm talking more or less the last 2 or 3 weeks before we all graduated. We all started talking to each other, people in my friend group from freshman to junior year. We started talking to each other a little bit more. And we started getting a little bit closer with one another. And it felt really nice. Because, these were the people that at first I was starting to lose my trust in, and I just didn't know what to do anymore. So it was really nice to be able to talk to them towards the end of the year, and although I wouldn't say our friendships are completely salvaged, they're definitely not non-existent anymore. Like, you can tell that we were friends at one point, and we wanted to try and talk before we graduated. And graduation, we all said goodbye to each other. And yeah. So yeah, needless to say, end of the year, that's whenever things got tied up. Anything negative between us was pretty much dropped. And it was just a great feeling. So now, let's talk about the actual day. The day this entire video is about. The day of graduation. This was a day we all thought we had been looking forward to. And we were. Don't let that off-put you. Graduation day is an amazing thing. But the day of hit us harder than a truck. We weren't going to be seeing each other every day anymore. None of us were going to be able to tell our jokes to each other. We'd have to set up days outside of work. And it just kind of sucked. We had the senior trip that previous Wednesday, and that's whenever we started tying up loose ends and hanging out with each other again. Friday was graduation practice, and that was whenever some more loose ends started getting tied up. And Saturday, it all just seemed to culminate. So we wound up getting there, and while we were waiting to get lined up, this was basically our last chance as high school students that had not yet graduated to say goodbye, have any last words we had to say to each other. It was a bittersweet moment. Don't get me wrong, it was great to finally say that I'm done with school, but not as great as I thought it would be. So we wind up walking out, and that's whenever reality truly hits you, is that you're about to go into the real world, is whenever you walk out with your walking partner and you face the giant crowd before you. I know some schools don't have giant crowds. We had the Tulsa University Reynolds Center booked out, and we had most of the lower level of that pretty much completely full. So there were a couple hundred to maybe even about 1,000 people just there to see us. And like I said, it's whenever everybody starts cheering and clapping that you realize things are about to change. Maybe for the better, maybe for the worse. You'll find out in a couple of months. We wind up sitting down, listening to all the speeches, and then the choir goes up to perform. That was, it was great. Don't get me wrong. Whatever I said, that was that made it sound like it was bad. It was not bad. It was an amazing thing. But afterwards, that was whenever I cried, because I realized that I wasn't going to be able to sing with the choir anymore, and I had grown close to a lot of people that had decided to not leave, including myself. That made it sound like I'd grown close to myself. Sorry, I'm a little stupid. So I sat back down and I start crying a little bit because I realized that we weren't, or at least I wasn't, going to be singing with the choir anymore. So the last event of the day, we walk across the stage and get our diplomas, which we actually don't get them until June. We just get the little booklet that it goes in. But my superintendent, he wound up stopping me, and he said that I'm not going to try and sound like I'm bragging, but he basically said, he's like, listen, you have a gift with your voice. Keep on using it. Don't let it just stop. I'm like, oh no, I'm going to cry again. And then we all got to go see our families for a little bit before we wound up going back down, turning our tassels to the left side. I don't know if this video is going to look mirrored or not. In recording it does. And then we tossed our caps, and that was it. We were officially done with high school. We made it. And it was a bittersweet moment because there were some people crying that I've never seen cry a day in my life. And I just realized, next Monday, I'm not going to see these guys every day. I'm not going to be able to walk in at breakfast, talk to them, see them in class, or see them at lunch or at tech. Well, some of them still wound up going to tech, because we still went to tech Monday through Thursday, but that's not important. But like I said, that's whenever reality hits. Because then, you're taking pictures with everybody, and it's over. You're saying goodbye to high school, and you're being thrown headfirst into the real world. So, I would like to do one thing in this video. I will be right back. This year is the only year I got a yearbook. And I just want to read through the things that people wrote. I'm not going to say their names. So, yeah, here we go. It's just time to see what everyone had to say. Here we go. So, one of them says, sorry I wasn't at school most of the year. Love you, bro. No homo. Love you too, man. Someone wrote, ooh woo. That's really nice. Gamer, thanks for making me laugh so hard I cry while playing late night Minecraft, which that was one thing me and a couple of my friends at Tech did. We just stayed up and played Minecraft some nights, and it's amazing. Dude, I'm happy I got the chance to meet a gamer like you. I'm gonna miss Colonel Kermit. That is an inside joke. You would have had to been at Tech to understand everything. I'm gonna miss you even more, though. Thank you for being so cool. Jacob, thank you for hanging out with me. Good luck in life. I'm going to miss you, Dad. That was a choir inside joke where I was someone's dad. Someone just wrote, boy. And another one says, see you soon, baby, with a little winky face at the end. That's terrifying. Dear Jacob, I'm gonna miss you. I loved having you in choir. You have an amazing voice. Never give up on your dreams. Love you. Will always be here for you. This person purposely misspelled my last name, so I'm not gonna worry about reading. I'll miss all the classes we have had. We made a lot of memories, and even if I never see you again, just know my life has been changed for the better. Thank you for being a shoulder to cry on and making me laugh. There's a couple of these that were wrote in other languages, probably as a joke, so we'll look over those in a second. Thanks for being in the play, or thanks for being you. The play was fun. Someone wrote yeet yeet brother. Someone wrote, more like belongs in the trash. Bye-bye, buddy. You're the best Sonic dad ever. That was another thing, which I forgot to go over. We had a musical senior year, but one rehearsal I wore a Sonic shirt, and Sonic the Hedgehog, of course. This was before the bad trailer, by the way. But they're remaking him, so I'm excited. But I call myself Sonic Dad. So we have this right here. I don't know how well you can see it. Anyone want to take a guess on what it says? Bet you can't. It says lasagna. And then there's another one that was written in Russian. All it translates to is, it's been an honor, comrade. So we're gonna go on to some more. You've been an amazing friend over the past 4 to 5 years. I hope that the next few years go amazing for you. Make sure you keep in touch, buddy. See you later, Soch. Which, that's something that happened in 8th grade. We read The Outsiders, and for the 60s museum, me and this person, we decided to be a greaser and a Soch, just like in The Outsiders. So she was a greaser, I was a Soch, and that just kept going. Ever since the 8th grade, we have been choir buddies. It's been a fun few years with you. Thank you. Have a great summer. That's simple. It's been a long time since Algebra 1, although it just seems like yesterday. You have always been a good friend. Thanks for being an amazing friend. I think this says... The memories we will have will be amazing. I just think that's what it says. I'm bad at reading some of this handwriting. I'm sorry. Hi, Jacob. Get League of Legends. We need to support and have a great summer. Thank you. Jacob, you are great and you deserve the world. Thank you. I don't know what to say. I didn't either. That's what we just wrote in each other's yearbooks. Have a great life. Don't have too much fun without me. Have a great summer. P.S. Hopefully MWF is still going on. If you guys don't know what the MWF is, go to Blazing Birch. We had a full 15 episodes with 2 pay-per-views. It was wrestling. That's what we did. And this person sadly never got to join because by the time he was going to get to join, there was a huge storm that blew our ring trampoline into the woods. So I'm gonna miss you, dog. I'm gonna miss you, dog. Glad we had class and you're really funny, and hope the best for you. I burped in the middle of that. That's gross. I'm sorry. To my favorite baritone ever, come and see me. And she crossed out ready, because that was my solo for this year, so come ready and see me, but crossed it out, so obviously saying, I want you to visit. You made me laugh daily, thank you. Remember, as Corey Ten Boom said, God's love is deeper still. Blessings. That was my English teacher, probably my favorite English teacher I ever had, because she actually made the material fun to study and work on. It was fun hearing you in class, man. Or having you. Hearing you? Why did I think hearing? I'm sorry, I'm bad at reading. You're such a fun guy. I hope to see you around. You have an amazing voice. Don't let any say you don't. I think that's supposed to say don't let anyone say you don't. But thank you. These past few years have been dope with you, and I'm gonna miss you, dude. Keep being dope. See you later, broski. P.S. I'm writing this in black to symbolize you leaving the black abyss at his Manfred High School. Good luck adulting. And that is all that I got in this yearbook, which is a lot more than I expected to get. But I know for sure I'm going to be looking back on this for memories, because it's honestly kind of sad. This is the last bit of stuff that I have, unless I want to go and stalk people on social media. This is the last bit of stuff that I have with everyone in it. So now, the last thing that I want to leave you off with is my advice for school. 1, spend as much time with your friends as possible. This might sound like a thing that sounds obvious, but eventually you'll just sort of let it drop off if you're anything like me. Don't. I made the mistake of not spending enough time with my friends, and although I see high school as a positive experience, looking back on it, I'm always going to wish that I had spent more time with my friends. So, whatever friends you have, just try to spend time with them. Make them feel wanted in your life, and they'll make you feel wanted in their lives. So do that. Don't get lazy. I know that's kind of hard to do sometimes if you have a lot of stuff going on, but don't get lazy. Whatever you do, always put in your hardest effort. It'll always work out in the end, trust me. Get a job, but make sure that the hours are what you think you can handle. Whenever I started working, I started over the summer, and then I kept my same hours from the summer to the to the school year, and that's what messed me up with some of my grades and some of my social time. So, yes, it is a good idea to get a job. Maybe not as soon as you turn 16, but a little bit before you turn 18 for sure. You want to get some sort of job so you can understand working and getting money, because you will have to do that in college most likely. So yeah, get a job, but make sure it works to your schedule. Don't do like I did and get yourself a lot of bills. I currently have a car and a phone to pay off, with a credit card just recently being thrown on top of that. Mainly because I needed a newer car for college, but I didn't want my dad paying for it. The phone, I just really wanted a new phone, and now I'm stuck with another new phone, but at the same time, I'm not worried about it. And the credit card, I just wanted to build some credit. So, but don't do that. It might sound nice to be able to pay off your own car, get your own phone, and this is what I'm about to say is gonna sound like freeloading. Let your parents pay for whatever they are willing to pay for as long as they are willing to do it. Because in high school, you never realize how important money is, because that's the main source of you going out and having fun with your friends. But if you're like me and you have so many bills, you basically have enough money to cover your bills and get you a couple tanks of gas. So, if anything, only get one bill, and that would be like a phone. Pay off a phone, that's about it. I wound up still having plenty of money left over while still paying off a phone. So if you want to get any kind of bill, make your phone bill. But also still stay on your parents' phone plan and give them the money to pay off the phone every month. Because I just wound up making my own separate account, which is good teaching-wise, but not good bank account-wise. 4, take plenty of pictures and videos. You might not know it now, but in about 10 years, you'll be probably craving, this is at least what I've heard from my siblings and family members, you'll be craving to look back on old memories. And honestly, with the abundance of social media, that just makes it easy to take a couple of pictures and boom, you got yourself a memory right there. So always make sure you get plenty of pictures and videos with people you really appreciate. And last but not least, don't overthink it. The second that you start overthinking high school, you're gonna panic and you're gonna stress yourself out. That's what I wound up doing until I realized it isn't as bad as everyone said it was. So don't put yourself into a panic. That is the worst idea. So yeah, that was my high school experience. That's my advice for the future. So I hope you guys take that to heart. I hope you guys like this random video. And I'll see you guys later, whenever I can figure out another video idea. See ya.